I'm more like Tyler Hoover, but like with a 35% more willingness to work on my own cars. This car is driving me crazy. Because so far, I spent half the purchase price of the car chasing something that's not fixing it. So that is not supposed to do that. What's up, everybody? My name is Elliott, but you can call me the Motory Notary. And remember, everybody deserves a second chance, even your ex from high school. So give them a call. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Anyway, today behind me, you'll see a car that has gotten several second chances. My 2003 CarTrek Maserati Coupe GT. This car got its first second chance at life when Tavares chose it to be on CarTrek, and it became no longer just a high mileage Maserati, but a famous, cool looking high mileage Maserati. It then got its second chance when I bought it. And well, I still have it, it's still here, and it's not at the crusher, so I'd say we're doing pretty well so far. Now let me show you why this car deserves a second chance every time. See, that is why this car deserves a second chance time and time again. No matter how expensive the repairs are or what's wrong with it, one turn of the key and you hear that bark, and all is forgiven. Now, unfortunately, the same cannot be said for this 2004 Malibu Classic. It was not born special, and it's been through a hard life, and as you can hear right now, it's not doing too well. To be fully honest with you guys, the whole plan for this car was to pretty much immediately take it to the crusher. But as you can tell, time constraints and other things have gotten in the way, and I still have it. In fact, I've had it for so long, I'm starting to feel sorry for it. So I think I'm actually going to give this car a second chance. I have a feeling that it's like a couple $100s away from running pretty perfectly. And if that's the case, I'll fix it, I'll make it a rallycross car, and it'll live on. And if not, it's curtains. So let's see if this Malibu gets its second chance. Okay, for those of you unfamiliar with it, this is my 2004 Malibu Classic that I bought for just $500 not running. I quickly got it running in the lady that I bought it from's driveway, drove it here, and it was running fine for the first couple of days, but now, not so much. I had a little bit of fun showing how liberating living with a cheap car like this can be, and I think the car hasn't forgiven me since then because it just hasn't been wanting to idle or really run hardly at all ever since then. So let me show you the primary issue that I've noticed with this car that's really preventing it from being a running and driving car. All right, let's say you're in a hurry. So you get in your cheapest car, you get your Malibu key, and you go to start it. Put your key in. Nope. Still nothing? By this point, you're late, whatever you're doing. There we go. Now you're ready to go, right? Wrong. This thing doesn't really idle. You can hear that kind of lopey cam. Well, it's not a cam. It's not running on 1 or 4 cylinders. So if you give it some gas, well, it stalls. But let me start it back up so you can hear that lopey cam. It might take a second. This starter is a champ though. Now we're back. Right back here you can see the problem, or I guess hear the problem. First of all, it's spit up. But you hear this? All right, needless to say, Malibus shouldn't sound like that. It shouldn't be catching itself at idle and sputtering and spewing liquid out of the back. Now, I personally think it's a spark issue. It sounds like it's not running on all of its cylinders, and I think a simple spark plug replacement could be the issue. It's got 134,000 miles, and this thing probably didn't have a nice life, so I'm guessing it's the original plugs on this thing still. The first thing is replacing the spark plugs, and for that, I need to get this car over to O'Reilly's. It's also got a check engine light, which I imagine has something to do with the way it's running, so I'll probably get it scanned while I'm there. Imagine if we can get spark plugs and just replace this real quick and have this thing be running perfectly. All this thing is a rear window away from being a rallycross champion. So let's get this thing to O'Reilly's and fingers crossed it makes it there. Okay, on the way to O'Reilly's now. And you might wonder, why would I take the Malibu if it's so unreliable and barely running to the store? Well, because that's way more fun, obviously. And secondly, because I always unplug the battery in this thing to make sure it doesn't spontaneously combust overnight. The check engine light keeps going off because it keeps resetting, and the only way to get it back on is to drive it for a second. And I'm right down the road for O'Reilly's, so we might as well see if we can limp the car there. Now, all right, well, I won't bore you with the rest of the trip to O'Reilly's, but I did make it there and back successfully. But unfortunately, I was not able to get the check engine light to come back on, so there was nothing for them to scan when I got there, which means we're basically back to mechanically throwing poop against a wall and seeing what sticks. So while I was there, I got some spark plugs like I said I would, and let's go ahead and try to put them on. Now, unlike Watch JR Go and 100% Jake, I don't exactly know what I'm doing, but it seems to be a pretty easy job. I'm more like Tyler Hoover, but like with a 35% more willingness to work on my own cars. That being said, let's try to put these spark plugs in. It can't be that hard. Okay, so according to the internet, everything that I need to get to is underneath that black cover that says Ecotec right there. Apparently all I need to do is loosen those 4 bolts and a bracket over here, pop this thing off, which is all 4 coil packs at once, and I should be in spark plug city. So let's give it a whirl. Look at that. How are leaves in here? How is that possible? But you can also see them down there. At least they're all there. I was kind of half expecting to see one missing with the way this thing was running. All right, now I guess I'll pull them out one by one and see if we can find one that looks noticeably worse than the others. Okay, not looking too hot. Well, I mean, it was hot at some point, but this is what we got. Not handsome. Lots of gap. No idea if this is the problem, actually, but putting new ones in can't hurt. So, let's hope. So, all 4 spark plugs out. Let me show you as an example. This being a bad, old, gross one. This being a brand new one. You can see the difference. There's a little bit tighter gap here. This one's not covered with grime and oil and soot. So, you know, let's just try to put these in and see if this thing fires up, runs like a champ. It might, you never know. This could be the fix. Okay, moment of truth. Okay. Hang on. Dang. Started up a little easier than the first time. Let's just see. It might take a second. So far, this is about the same as what it was before. Let's just see if it runs smoother once it's actually on. Okay, seems pretty smooth so far. Let's just give it a second. You never know. Just could have gotten all the gunk worked out of it. Hard to tell, it's pretty smooth. Nope, it's still barely catching itself. Well, I tried, you know. If anybody knows what this could be, drop it in the comments below. I'm kind of committed to trying to get this thing running now. So at least we did one thing. It didn't hurt it, still runs just as well as it ever did. Okay, sorry for the rough cut, but I want to give you an update on where we're at. It's been several days, if you can't tell from my hair growth and change of clothes, but the spark plugs didn't work. I'm glad I did them because it made it a little bit better, and I'm sure it needed them, but it didn't solve the engine running poorly issue. So we checked the fuel pressure at the rail, and it has fuel pressure. So this thing was still running wrong, and I couldn't get it to generate a code. So I drove it around a little bit more, stalled out a bunch, until it finally gave me a check engine light. And the check engine light was for the map sensor. So I pulled the intake off, and while doing that, I discovered so much oil. Taking that top box off, it like dumped oil out. And that's never good. You never want to see dumpable amounts of oil in anything to do with your intake. So apparently I can't show it on camera accurately, but that thing is just filled with oil. And the map sensor is, well, right there. So I'm guessing there's so much oil coming from the valve cover spattering around in here that it just coated the map sensor, causing it to fail. Regardless, I need to get that map sensor off first and foremost. So let me get to work. Okay, moment of truth. Okay, well, it has oil on it, but I can't say if it's definitively bad. But now that everything's off here, you can see how much oil is down in there. Look at that, it's filled the runners. It is so bad. Okay, another quick cut, but got it. Now just got to put it in. I have a feeling this is it. We're one more disassembly of this thing away from it running perfectly. So, second chances, here we go. First crank, new map sensor. But that's a little disappointing. But I guess still just give it some time. Maybe it just needs to figure itself out, get reacquainted with that new map sensor. You never know. Cars are funny and electricity is a mystery. It appears we are right back to where we were. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. So now what we're gonna try is to see if there's a vacuum leak somehow. It is kind of hissing when it's running up, and what my uncle is doing right now is hooking up a vacuum gauge. We've got it hooked up to the vacuum line for the intake manifold, and maybe, just maybe, this is the issue. Okay, so it wasn't the map sensor, but it did help. It wasn't the spark plugs, but that did help. It's not generating any vacuum, so we went to look at the cam position sensor, but it turns out this engine doesn't have a cam position sensor. It uses the ignition module to do that. One more run to O'Reilly's, and we could be in business. You never know. This is, I guess, chance number 4 for this car. Or this is a whole saga. It's ongoing. Anyway, be right back. Okay, new ignition module is in. You can tell because it's shiny. One more try here. This could be it. Well, I didn't have to crank it as long. And it is running. But it would, I'm very disappointed. Hey, I got a sustained check engine light.
Oh, good.
So let's scan that. Maybe it'll give us a new direction. So far, I spent half the purchase price of the car chasing something that's not fixing it. All right, so that little scanner gave the same code as it did last time, but we have a GM Tech 1 that we're gonna use. This is what the GM Techs would have used back in the 90s, but it still works on cars like this. So maybe it'll give us more insight and more detail. We're gonna plug it in, see what it says.
Okay, let's see what the DTCs are. Same thing.
Okay, so far Tech 1 just told us the map sensor again. So either I got a bad map sensor or it just keeps defaulting to that error. Either way, I'm gonna keep looking into it. All right, folks, back again with another rough cut. It's day, I don't know, obviously another outfit change. These days are just going by and by. This car is driving me crazy. So we've replaced the spark plugs, we've replaced the map sensor, and I've replaced the ignition control module / cam position sensor because they're the same thing in this car. But unfortunately, I ignored the elephant in the engine bay, which is this metal on metal, horrible loose change sound that I will now demonstrate for you. And it's, well, it's not pretty. So. That is not supposed to sound like that. That sounds like Mr. Timing Chain smacking the top of the valve cover. Well, needless to say, that has actually gotten worse over the weekend, which is surprising because I haven't moved it. But what I'm gonna do now is pull the valve cover off and verify if that timing chain is off its guides or just slapping around in there or what, because that might be it for this car if that's the case. But I won't know until I see it. I guess here's another time lapse of me taking this engine bay apart again. Here we go. Okay, the time has finally come. I got all the bolts loose. Let's see the damage under here. Okay, well, that's pretty bad. Let me switch to handheld mode and really show you what's going on. Okay, so I've got the lights moved so you can see what's really going on here, and let me tell you, not good. First and foremost, this is a record level of sediment and sludge. That is not what it's supposed to look like, believe it or not. I mean, there's buildup every single place where there can be. It's gross. So that makes you think, well, what does the rest of it look like? Well, it's also a sludgy mess in here. Surprise, surprise. Just disgusting. There's wear everywhere, tons of buildup. But this is our real problem. Remember, all the noise was coming from over here. And you can see here we have a vibrant, young timing chain that's, you know, pretty good, a little slack. But then when you really give it the slack test, ugh. That is not supposed to do that, and that is going to account for 100% of our running issues. So, oh, that's not good. Somebody needs to get this timing chain a blue chew. Am I right? Anyway, so the problem is there's no good way to get to it, and to do that job, it is many, many times more than the car is worth, even if I were to do it myself. So unfortunately, I think it actually is curtains for this car, but I don't feel too bad because I gave it my all. I really tried everything I possibly could to save a car that others would call unsavable. But man, once I saw the slack in that timing chain and felt it, well, that just kind of sealed the deal. Well, that marks the end of this unfortunate Malibu saga. I still believe that everybody deserves a second chance, and this Malibu got its second chance, and its third chance, and its fourth chance in just this video. But that timing chain issue can't be ignored. It spells absolute disaster for this car, and unfortunately, fixing it, even if I were to do it myself, would greatly exceed this car's value. And unlike the Maserati or the Z4 or, well, any other car that I own, this Malibu simply isn't worth it. So I'm gonna do what any other self-respecting car YouTuber would do and make this car drive itself to its own grave. But it's not all doom and gloom. There is actually some positivity buried in there somewhere with this car. So be sure to stay tuned for the next episode to see what I'm talking about. But anyway, that is going to do it for this episode. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. I try to post little previews of episodes before they release. Follow me on Facebook. Join my Facebook group. It's a fun place to share memes, and I'm usually in there interacting in the comments. And other than that, please like on this video. It greatly helps my performance on YouTube. Comment, share, do all that normal YouTube stuff, and I will see you guys on the next video.